and that's why we believe in it. All right, last but not least, our mage of Fund 3, Itai, is coming up. Talk about Flair. When we opened up the day, we talked about our returns and our companies and Fund 3. And Gary led this investment. What year did we lead the investment? Gary?
2020.
Yeah, so in Fund 3. And it's been, I think, was it before COVID or after COVID?
During COVID.
During COVID. So we knew Itai. Gary especially lives in San Diego, and he has an office here in Phoenix, a lot of employees here in Phoenix. So we wanted to catch up. He's good enough to sit with us. He sat with us last year. Let's just talk. Let's get right into it and give us an update like Flair. When the name Flair, people have seen on their statements Marble and Themis. Let's talk about Flair.
Sure. So thanks for having me. Always feels like home here. Flair is an end-to-end customized platform that delivers consumer legal service end-to-end. And maybe I'll start by explaining a little bit what's the problem we're solving. And there's, if you look at key life events, you zoom in on legal services, mainly delivered by lawyers, and then taking a close look at consumer law. Consumer legal services is about $130 billion a year. Industry in the US has a variety of problems and challenges. There's a misalignment between a lawyer who's charging you an hourly fee. If you go to do a family law matter, a real estate transaction, there's this misalignment between a lawyer charging an hourly fee and a consumer just looking to pay the least amount of money and have a quick resolution. There's no data in place. Nobody can tell you how long the case will be, what will be the potential outcomes. It's all in Latin. It's offline. There's no access to capital. For lawyers, it's really hard to build their business. So Flair's first application is Marble Law, which is a consumer-facing law firm that is completely powered behind the scenes by tech, allows consumers to come in within a few clicks, get a fixed fee for their case, so they know exactly how much it's going to cost. They can pay it up front. They can pay it over time. They engage with a digital app. They can upload documents, share information. And behind the scenes, there's a set of AI tools and software together with a 1099 lawyer that delivers the case forward. And that automation creates a very high net promoter score and a very predictable business in a really big market. So that's kind of Flair in a nutshell.
So since we invested, right, seed investor, right around 10 million valuation, typical overpriced social leverage deal. You've seen it all. You have co-founder in Israel. Get into that maybe for a sec. We have a big team in Israel, right? We have you're only in your fourth year of operation, but you've accomplished a lot. You've seen the valuation over $2 billion, where you're comfortably over $1 billion. Revenues, you've seen it all. Can you share a bit about the scale of the business? Just a couple of things: the number of employees, number of clients helped, revenue run rate. Just something to give us an understanding for where you've gotten to.
Sure. Through Flair, we served, just under 60,000 clients so far. We're a 9 figures revenue business. We have about 250 employees. As you mentioned, some of them are in Israel, San Diego, Scottsdale, New York, San Francisco. We are servicing clients through Marble across big states in the US, and I'll talk a little bit more about other platform products we're building, but that's the general scale of the business. As you mentioned, we're starting our 4th year of operation, and we kind of moved from crawling to walking to running really fast, and with that, obviously, good things happen and challenges along the way.
So companies at scale, but very focused on a limited number of states and practice areas. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Marble is offering this service in 10 states. There's other solutions that Flair is offering beyond those 10 states, but let's just focus on that. For us, we're a category leader. There's nobody that is competing with us. There's no vertically integrated technology platform in consumer legal services or in legal services at all. We're competing against a solo practitioner lawyer. And for us, it's really important to prove the quality of service, the experience, to make sure we're not humanizing the experience too much, meaning we're not using people where we don't need to. So we're productizing it, and we want to make sure the unit economics is really strong. So as we grow, we can actually get to a place where we can spit out cash and be very profitable, which is in our horizon. So we're really focused on those 10 states to prove it. And we're offering it around family law and immigration, so only 2 practice areas. But the way we build a platform, you can do it across 20 different use cases. And I can elaborate later about those.
Yeah. So we don't talk about this because a lot of the today was about unit economics. So how do you think about unit now that you've raised, hundreds of millions and $1 billion valuation, over 100 million in revenue? How do you think about unit economics?
I hate it. No, I'm kidding.
What are the components of this that make you profitable?
We were quite disciplined from the beginning to think about it. The average consumer is going to pay us more than $5,000 on a transaction with a pretty predictable repeat behavior in the first year. And I can say that we're operating at about 70% gross margin. Because the machine does most of the work, we don't need to pay the lawyer as much. And we want to make sure a big KPI, Gary knows this from our board meetings, is that when we market and we spend a lot of money on digital marketing and we have different channels, we get that money back within the same month, so we can use that cash to grow rather than have this negative cash cycle that is less favorable. So we're very focused on unit economics. And then we're launching more products to lower CAC over time and increase margin. We think probably the end of the year will be at a 74% gross margin because there's a bunch of automation that we're working on this year.
So it seems like you're maybe profitable on a unit basis?
We're extremely profitable on a unit basis.
So, so things are now becoming that where headwinds are now tailwinds. When it was a different era, capital was abundant. Now we're seeing that as much as there was misallocation of capital, there's AI. We got some AI out of this. So this has been the year of it. Everybody's talking about. We have Michael on stage. Legal is one of those areas mentioned as being optimal for disruption of AI. I think it's coming for professionals, right? The internet came for travel agents and stockbrokers, and now AI is coming for the professionals. Where does that fit in your head?
Yeah, really, we're really excited about it. We embedded AI across the entire funnel, case delivery, lawyer workflow. I'll give you an example. Since we started, we've been tracking consumer legal service is a very subjective legal service. It's court by court, jurisdiction by jurisdiction. There's different preferences by different courts, and we're logging all the activities the lawyer's doing on a case, and we're taking those signals, and through machine learning, we can actually better the case the next time. So with more people, the product actually gets better. So we have AI that drafts legal documents on behalf of the lawyer, put it for approval. We have AI in our online acquisition funnels. We basically customize the onboarding experience for the consumer based on their needs and persona and geography, etc. We use AI for matching between a customer and a lawyer. A customer is buying legal services from Marvel, but also getting a lawyer. So we're using persona matching, and we look at your success rate, and we're able to get an alpha for our client. So it's across, and we think it's very favorable. We've seen a bunch of AI solutions that are very silo, and we believe that in order to solve this industry, you need to have this vertically integrated business, a set of different products. We use AI for underwriting clients because we build a lender API that finance clients. A lot of people don't have $5,000, so we will lend them, and we have a lender directly to fund the client, but we underwrite this, and it's the first company to ever underwrite a legal case rather than just a person. So a bunch of AI across the entire stack.
And it just will continue to stack in your benefit, no?
Yeah. I think one of the most exciting thing we're building is today, when you're coming to Marble, you're buying legal representation, limited scope. It's a fixed fee case, and if there's more that you need, you'll get it. But we want to increase our TAM as we're growing, so we're launching what we call Flare Access, which is a bunch of do-it-yourself, lightweight legal service that we're probably going to give out for free. Think about an uncontested divorce and estate planning, filing your taxes. So more solutions, more reach to more people. We're also using AI on the lawyer side. We just launched a way for any lawyer in the US to refer cases back to us. So 16% of consumer or legal service demand in the US is from lawyers referring cases to each other. And we build that inside our portal, basically allowing lawyers to refer cases for us and earn money for it in a very easy and seamless way.
So we've got, there's Marble, there's Flare. How do you think about now making it a household name? Like, you got unit economics. You know what it's going to take to be profitable. You've survived a pandemic. You've survived the bubble. You've got a business that works. How do you get to the next level to build a household name? And who are you building that household name for? How are you thinking about this?
Yeah, there's kind of two brands here, but building a brand is really expensive. So in the first, I guess 3 years of the company, we've been focused on kind of building the experience bottom up, making sure people are getting an amazing experience. Tens of thousands of people know this. We have, 500,000 potential customers through our platform every year already. And we're offering a limited amount of services. As we expand it over time, we'll be able to attract and convert more people. Over time, Marble will become a household name in the US, will advance into more states and build this perception that Marble is your partner through key life events. And again, that could be going over, using AI on your new employment offer or rental agreement, or when you buy a home, all the way through legal representation when you need it. And lawyer side, lawyers are using Flare Pro, and that's a big brand for lawyers. 20% of our lawyers today refer to each other. So that's already a big brand in the legal community. On the consumer side, there's a lot of room for Marble to build an actual brand. I wouldn't say it's a KPI of ours. KPI of ours is to reduce CAC and to have growth engine that are very profitable. I think at some point brand will make sense to complement that. But it takes a while to build it.
Awesome. This year is the year to prove that you can be profitable and get the burn to neutral-ish with plenty of capital in the bank. So what are the goals for the business over the next 1 to 2 years from now?
Yeah. Kind of our phase, we're in phase 3 of our business today. Phase 1 was product market fit, prove that people are looking to buy this product, experience it, the quality is great, lawyers love this product, there's strong engagement, it's very predictable. So that's stage 1. Stage 2 was growth and scale, making sure that you can dial the knob and scale business, scale revenues, number of clients, number of lawyers. The technology doesn't break, and it broke across the way, and it's still breaking. And we're now in stage 3 where we want to make sure that, all right, the business, you put it, works. It's hard to say works because there's a number of day-to-day challenges, but it's at a scale, and we want to be cash flow profitable this year. And then the next kind of version is to be highly profitable and have an EBITDA that we're excited about as we kind of scale the business. So we're in step 3 right now. And then there's a lot of different vectors within those kind of steps, whether it's on the product side, on the marketing side, on just business automation, a brand, et cetera, et cetera. So we're in that step right now.
So just quickly on Israel, how many employees are there?
250.
So I don't know what you can tell us about today. What's different today from October 7th?
Yeah, I think, it's a life-changing event. I grew up in Israel, moved here after the army when I was 21. And it's the first time, if I'll speak personally, not that I think that I should speak personally about October 7 because there's a broader pain, but I feel really guilty not being there. It's definitely an event that changed the course of our life. We never thought something like this can happen. We have about 100 employees in Israel. 25 of them were called to their reserve duties. My co-founder, who's a Navy SEAL, ex-Navy SEAL in Israel, who retired, came back to do reserve duty. And so, I can go on and on, but it's put things in perspective, sorry. And obviously highly emotional. I went to Israel a few months ago and got to spend time with the team. We all see the news and the pain on all sides, and hopefully we'll get to a peaceful state at some point.
And people, so in terms of employee hiring and stuff, how does that look now in Israel? How do you think about it?
No, yeah, the industry kind of shut down for 3-4 months, and people were in the reserve duties. Companies, stopped and couldn't really figure out what to do because their employees are in the reserve duty. Kids are home, schools are shut, so a lot of disruption. Now it's getting into some sort of normality. It's actually a good hiring market now because there's a tech crunch, just across Israel and here. So we have plenty of open positions, and we see a lot of interesting talent across. So we're actively hiring, and it's just a weird time, specifically in Israel.
I don't know if this was tied back to it, but I don't know when you started, but you're contributing back to the world through pro bono work. Tell us why you chose to do that year 4, and maybe an anecdote about the impact.
Yeah, so we're through Marble. We have a plan called Marble Does More, which is a way to give back. When we started the company. I remember speaking about it with Gary, in one of our first meetings. We already, gave back about $2 million in legal services. And those are situations where I'll give you a few examples. We had a person with a kidney disease, stage 4 kidney disease, that their employer didn't help. They were trying to save for surgery, and they were filed for divorce against them. And we helped that person for free. We got them a favorable outcome. We also donate money. Other than that, we have a 19-year-old ex-homeless person who is fighting to see their kid and kind of reshape their life. So we helped him, and he got visitations because of it. So many, many stories, and we like it because, one, it's a way to give back, and it makes the business, the product, the technology very real. Secondly, our employees love it. We share it, during our all hands meetings once a month, and we share stories and data. Important to understand, the lawyers we work with, that are subcontractors, we pay them fully to handle those cases, so they don't assume any risk, and they provide the most excellent service, and we pay for it, and that's a part of our P&L, and that's something we're committed to.
So we're going to end it with some feedback. Oh yes, some feedback for some of the founders here, because this is what we're here for too. This is your second scaled startup, so you've seen a lot. We've seen a lot. Now you've got, like you said, a couple hundred employees. Forgetting the war for a moment, and thinking back for the first 2 companies. What's the skill? What are some lessons that we can impart? What are the key things that you're working on at this size, and what's changed from the beginning?
I think what I've learned, and we always say in the company, always be a 7. So we're never a 10, which is rah, we're killing it, crushing it. And we're never a 4, like it's shit and things are going to go away. So we're always trying to be very grounded. And I think in startups, you have those ups and downs. You're getting funded, you're hiring somebody you like, you're getting a partnership, but you gotta stay grounded because it's a long process and there's a lot that you need to prove. And so when people tell you you're crushing it, you're probably not really crushing it. When people tell you that you suck, probably you don't suck. So kind of stay grounded. And I think secondly, what helps me is to learn. And it's like, I view this almost like a video game. Every day or week, you have like a new level, and you need to learn new skill sets and engage with different, parties, and you just need to be better. So you need to learn consistently. So you can better yourself, be better for your team, and kind of elevate your company further. Because every day is a stage that maybe you didn't encounter before.
You do it in marketplace. So which is the harder side of recruiting? People for the company or the lawyers? How do you manage all the recruiting?
You mean on the lawyer side? we actually don't perceive the business as a pure marketplace. It's more of we think it's service as a software. So you're buying a service, but most of the job is done by software. There's also kind of a flexible work model on the lawyer side, which is not a huge challenge. There's a very strong brand, as I mentioned. The payback is 10x on the first month for lawyers. There's a waiting list in every city. It's a new way for lawyers to work, to operate law. Rather than work on cases, they work on a task. They engage with AI that does most of the work on their case. So, and they earn more. Our lawyer earns 3x more than what they used to earn before. And then the demand is also built in this business. There's a lot of demand. Nobody's doing what we do. Just family law is about $14 billion a year in annual spend. It's a purely quality constrained business. So you have to build everything between, and you have to do it right so it doesn't break with scale, because we have really serious key life events that we're dealing with. And so that's kind of if you ask me what's a challenge, that's a challenge.
Yep. I'm going to open it up to questions. We're right on time. We've got drinks next where we can all mingle. Questions for Itai or the company? Awesome. Everybody wants to drink. What's the split time? San Diego, Phoenix?
I come to Phoenix or Scottsdale once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks for 4 or 5 days at a time. So quite a bit.
All right. We're going to let everybody go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh.
I just wonder if you comment on whether you think that the founder culture in Israel is strongly tied to the compulsory military activity, and whether you think it is, whether because it teaches skills, because it forms personalities, character, or something else.
Yeah, it's a great question. The question is like if the army in Israel is contributing to some sort of founder skills. I don't know exactly, because I only experienced that experience of going through the army. I can tell you what it gives you. It gives you this sense of a really, really tough 3 years of doing things that you didn't think are possible. And once you leave to the real world, you look at things and like, that's possible, because it couldn't be harder than whatever you've done. It also gives you a lot of responsibility, and you can't get fired when you're at the army, right? So you get a lot of ability and power to influence and do things even at scale. So when you go out, I was seeking for kind of the same experience, and then you kind of build it. I think also gives you discipline and, maybe work ethic. For me, it was definitely a positive experience.
For me, when I go to events in Israel, because I'm there not recently, since September, but when I go to Israel and I go to they have the same politics, same aggravation, the same gossip, same bickering, same war stories. But when you get in a room with 1,000 Israeli founders and startups, people, they've all had that one shared experience. Silicon Valley doesn't have that one shared experience. So the bickering is a little meaner.
Well, Stanford.
Yeah, well, we see how that's working. But but what I'm saying is, you go from 20-year-olds to 80-year-olds, they've all got that same experience. So that's something that I've never
it's
seen.
Definitely easy to network and have a common theme. And you work with a person, you have a shared history with them, even though you never met him or her. So it's definitely helping. And I think for me personally, was a positive experience. I learned a lot.
Well, just saying, as an outsider looking in, that's the first one I looked in on that room when I looked at an event of Israeli founders and people in the startup industry. That's what they have that we don't have. Is they may not like each other, they may disagree about politics, but they've all been through those 3 years.
Yeah.
All right, any more questions? Okay, we'll break. We're over. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, we'll take a few questions. Sure.
So you showed that